So over the last year, I've generated over $10 million with online apparel brands. But to get to that point, I've had to spend millions of dollars on paid ads. TikTok ads, Meta ads, Google ads, whatever it is, you name it, I've done it. And after spending millions of dollars on ads, of course, that's generated millions of dollars in sales. But more importantly, it's taught me the ins and outs of digital marketing. The process of spending all of this money on paid ads has taught me what works, what doesn't work, and the best practice for really scaling any brand. And more importantly, what it takes to scale a brand into a cash flowing business. And that's where a lot of people get things wrong. Most brands are stuck in what I call levels 1 and 2 of business. And in this stage of business, it might seem impossible to reach that 100K per month mark in revenue. And a lot of times people are stuck in these levels because they're fixing the wrong problems in their business. So it might seem like that no matter what you do, you can't get past the 10,000 bucks a month in revenue that you're doing. Or maybe it's 50K a month. Whatever it is, you feel like no matter what you do, you can't get past this wall. And whether you're stuck at $5,000 per month in sales or $100,000 per month or even $1 million a month, wherever you're at, I've been there, I promise. And the frustration feels the same. There's always some problem that's holding you back from getting to the next echelon of revenue. And in this process, it's really understanding what problems need to be fixed at the right time. And that's how you scale. You might be surprised to know that having a good ad strategy or knowing how to run good ads is not the trick to scaling your brand. Now, of course, this helps. Everybody wants to know how to run good ads. And if you suck at running ads, you're probably not going to make any money. However, there are things you can do to make your ads work better. And in reality, running ads and good marketing is actually a really small piece of the puzzle in the big picture of scaling your brand into a sustainable long-term business. So how do I know that? Why should you trust me? Well, in the last couple of years, I've been responsible for scaling multiple brands past 7 and 8 figures per year in revenue. In some occasions, we've taken brands from $0 per month in sales to over $1 million in just 30-day periods. And we've only been able to do that because we understand that taking a brand past 100K per month to 7 figures per year takes way more than just good ads and good marketing. So for the remainder of this video, I'm going to break down the 3 systems that we use to scale any brand into a long-term and sustainable business. And with the systems that I'm going to break down for you guys, you'll understand why scaling isn't a question of if it'll work anymore. It's really a matter of when. And all it depends on is how fast we move. And I'm not holding anything back, so pay attention. Don't get lost. I'm going to talk fast, so probably play this video on half speed if you aren't good at understanding things. So to give you guys some background on my story and why you can trust what I'm saying to you. 6 or 7 years ago, I started studying e-commerce and digital marketing, and more specifically, what was Facebook ads back then. I was still in high school, didn't really know what I was doing, but 6 or 7 years, I've learned a couple of things. So fast forward to about 2 years ago, my business partner called me and said, hey, you need to come to Atlanta. We need to go all in on this. So we did. We started working with a brand called Saint Potential, and we started running their ads in their email marketing. So I took what I knew about Facebook ads to an existing brand. I got pretty good at looking at the ads, looking at the data, making decisions, and making adjustments. And it started working so well that I really thought that that was all there was to it. Run good ads, have a good ad strategy, and make good creatives, and then you're good. You can scale any brand. So we got some good results. We proved the concept, and we started working with some other brands. But what I quickly realized that there is things that can be done to make the marketing way easier and way more effective. Because our strategy didn't just work with any brand. There was work that needed to be done to get the ads to work to their best potential. Because what we realized is if we just make this sales funnel of getting people to buy from our ads, we put ourselves in an uphill battle to constantly convince people that they want what we're selling. And nobody likes being in that battle. So the brands that we worked with, we looked at from a bird's eye view, not just the ads, not just the marketing, but what can we do to make the ads work better? So we're wasting less money on ads and getting customers for cheaper. And not only getting customers for cheaper, but getting them to spend more with us. We looked at what it took to actually build a business that compounds over time. What we realized is there's really only 4 components to scaling any online brand or business or whatever it is. And once you understand the 4 things you need to worry about in your business, you just need to know what buttons to click to make the 4 things work. And that's exactly why I'm going to talk to you guys about the Real Business Blueprint. And this is one of the systems that we use to scale all of our brands. And actually, it's really just a framework of how we solve problems in the business quickly. So the 4 components that I was talking about is your foundation, your acquisition, your fulfillment, and your retention. And in each of these components, there's KPIs that you need to track. And most people don't even know what a KPI is. And most people never even track a KPI because they don't know what it is. So a KPI is a key performance indicator. And that's basically just a special number that tells you how well this area of your business is doing. So acquisition, how much does it cost you to get a customer? That's pretty much it. And if it's high, you make it lower. It's very simple. But with the Real Business Blueprint, it's really just a process of getting better over time. And so once you track these KPIs in the 4 components of your business, you have a baseline for where you need to improve. So you have your cost per acquisition. Let's say for your fulfillment, you have a review system so you can see how happy your customers are with your product. For your retention, you have your returning customer rate. These are just some of the KPIs that we track to judge how healthy the business is. But once you benchmark the KPIs in each of these 4 components, you're able to look at the business from a big picture perspective, and you can isolate each of these 4 components depending on which is lacking. And let's take acquisition, for example, marketing. It's what everybody wants to talk about. If you're acquiring a customer for $49, all you need to do is implement fixes, whether that be better creatives, whether that be a better ad strategy, whether that be a new sales funnel. You just have to implement fixes to get that $49 CPA to $48. And you've improved. In the way of looking at business like this system is not common. And if you look at your business like this, you will 100% be your competition. Because I'll tell you what is common. There are so many people on YouTube that'll teach you how to run Facebook ads. It's not an extremely hard thing to do. Can you make good content? Do you have a good product? And can you look at numbers and understand what they mean? And over a long enough period of time, you will be able to run ads. But if you don't know how the 4 components of your business work, you won't know if your ads are doing good or doing bad. And going along with that, once we have the Real Business Blueprint in place and we understand how the business works, the next goal is getting those KPIs in each component of the business. And that's exactly why we do a baseline blitz. And that's getting those KPIs tracked on paper as quick as possible so that we can look and figure out what needs to be done. The biggest reason that most brands stop growing or aren't growing at all is because they're focusing on fixing the wrong problem. So once you understand the Real Business Blueprint, the components that go into your business, and you understand how to look at your business, now you need KPIs in your business to look at so you know what needs to be fixed. So how do we do that? Well, we do what's called a baseline blitz. And this gives us baseline KPIs for each of the components in the business. So for foundation, for example, we want our conversion rate, we want our cost of goods, we want production time. Those are just to name a few KPIs. So for the foundation of the business, we want our conversion rate, we want our Instagram followers, we want our production time, we want our cost of goods, we want any deals that we have with our manufacturer, whether that be net 30, whatever it is, we want it benchmarked there. And once we have those KPIs and metrics benchmarked, we move on to acquisition. How much does it cost us to get a customer? And that's pretty much the most important one. There's other things that we will look at, but don't overwhelm yourself. Let's just focus there. So moving on to fulfillment, you have how long does it take for your customer to actually get the product that you're selling? And once they get the product, are they happy with the product? Use a review system to figure that out. What is your average review? Is it a 5 out of 10? Is it an 8 out of 10? What is it? Figure that out. And once you figure that out, you can see what needs to be improved. And then retention. The big one here is returning customer rate. And that's gonna be the thing that really propels your business into a compounding business. So making sure that your customers are happy on their first purchase is important. And the more likely that is, the more likely it is for them to come back to buy. And that is where the real profit is made. If you can get a customer to come back to buy without having to pay for them to come back to buy. So once we blitz to get these baseline metrics, the quicker we do that, the quicker we can start stepping in the right direction. So we have the KPIs in each of the components of the business. Now we need to look at it from a bird's eye view and figure out which component we're gonna attack first. We always wanna fix the thing that's stopping us from making more money. And how do we do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is where we use a flywheel funnel. And a lot of you might not know what that means, because I just made it up. But the flywheel funnel puts your brand in a position of authority to your customer because you become omnipresent. And a lot of you probably still haven't heard of what that means. But really, that's just becoming present on all different sales channels, at least in the context that we're talking about it. You just want to become present on every single possible sales channel that your customer might be shopping on. Now, I'm not saying go and do that right away because you're going to get overwhelmed, and none of the funnels that you set up will actually work the right way. And when you're setting up a flywheel funnel, you can do this on one platform, but you're gonna do this on multiple different platforms that in and of itself, it becomes a flywheel funnel for your customer to get them warmed up with your brand so that they eventually make a purchase. And the idea behind this flywheel funnel is to build a machine that will warm people up to the brand so that over time they get nurtured into paying customers. And the more sales channels that you set up, the more omnipresent you become, the easier that these customer journeys become for your customers. The idea is we want to be in front of our customer as much as possible. They say that it takes somebody 7 different times of interacting with a business before they actually become a customer. So we want to be in front of our customer 10 times a day. And if we're not doing that, don't be surprised that you're not making money. So how do you set up a flywheel funnel? Well, let's start with one platform. Let's take Meta, for example. Facebook ads, Meta ads. So of course we want to always try to sell to people that have never seen us before, because if we can acquire a new customer from somebody that hasn't seen us, that's a huge success. But I utilize a lot of different campaign structures and campaign objectives to get people to follow the brand, to get people to watch our videos and our storytelling videos and whatever content that we want to feed to our customers. We're very intentional about that. And that's exactly how we get people to feel a certain way whenever they interact with our brand. And if we can get a customer to feel a certain way, we can definitely get them to come back to buy again later. The idea is to ask our customer to do something that's easy at first, because maybe they're not in the right position to buy, but they might be in the right position to follow the page. And if we get them to follow our Instagram, we can easily retarget them and they're in our funnel. And all we have to do from there is make sure we're posting organic content, make sure we're running ads to retarget these people, and we just want to warm them up over time. So in this flywheel funnel, we build out a top of funnel, a middle of funnel, and a bottom of funnel. And this funnel warms up a customer over time to make a purchase. So we are going to use traffic ads in some scenarios. We are going to use engagement ads. We are going to use lead ads. Whatever type of ad is necessary to get as many people associated with the brand as possible for as cheap as possible. So that's the overview of the main systems that we use to scale any brand into a long-term sustainable business. It's not rocket science. We've done it time and time again, and you can do it too. If you want to learn more about how we scale brands and us building brands from scratch, we're planning on documenting all of that. So subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, and shoot me a DM, and we can talk about what it would look like to scale your brand.